Welcome to another episode of the Elevated Chat Room. It's your host, Dwayne Malone. And right here we have Lonzo Jones. Today we're going to talk about voiceless men. Lonzo, go ahead and kick it off.
Voiceless men, breaking the silence. This is episode number 2, Elevated Chat Room. Elevate your mind, elevate your life.
Let's go.
So we're talking about voiceless men on today. This is something that we both feel like it goes in silence. And I mean, we tend to, as men, we tend to, hold stuff in. So we're going to dissect why we do that, what has led us to that, and just a bunch of other different angles we're going to hit this topic with. So the first question we're going to go with is, what are some causes of why men become voiceless? Good. All right, so y'all listen up. Now we helping out the men and the women because we want every relationship to prosper.
Absolutely.
So here we go. So some of the things that causes men to become voiceless is childhood. Okay, so childhood trauma is real. Okay, so being raised in an environment that stripped you of your voice and your ability to ask questions. I know, like right now with my sons, we let them ask us questions because they have feelings. Now we don't let them be disrespectful, but we do allow them to ask questions. Now when I was growing up, you couldn't say why, huh? What? You couldn't ask nothing. Whatever your mom and dad said.
Right. They took it as you being disrespectful. Yeah.
But now, like with my sons, it's like, no, I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know why you did what you did.
Yeah.
I want to know, what I'm saying, different angles of your own mentality, your own perspective. So when we do that at them at a young age, we are blocking them and setting them up in the future to not be able to open up to their future wives or their future significant others.
That's good.
What you got on that?
I agree with that. I could say too, a lot of times as parents, we do that and we're not aware that we're doing those things. And a lot of times, personally, I've kind of felt that way before where you didn't ask certain questions, and it could be a situation where you really just didn't know the answer, or you really wanted to know more or be exposed to more, or to become more knowledgeable of why is it that I don't need to do this, or why is it that you're saying, and I'm trying to figure out what was the best way of saying that without it being disrespectful. But like you said, I like the point that you made that it helps a child to be able to open up more, to be more confident and so on, because to go back to what I was saying, one of the hardest things it was for me getting older is putting myself in situations or around people that I didn't know or environments that I wasn't familiar with to be bold enough to speak up. So it even affected me in that way, in that aspect.
So you're voiceless in more than one area then?
Absolutely, because I didn't really have the confidence that I need. I need to know that if I ask a question in a classroom or ask a question in a meeting setting or so on, that it's okay to ask that question. And so now, being in a mature state than what I am right now, I always tell people the craziest question is the question that never get asked. And so for me, I believe if we can just be able to just speak up and to let our kids know at a very young age that it's okay to ask questions and maybe teach them how to ask a question or to convey what it is that they're saying without it coming across in a disrespectful way. So we're literally teaching and training them how to do that. But also to your question, when they say what are some causes of why men become voiceless, in my opinion, I definitely agree with you when you say the childhood trauma and so on. But I also believe it's a lot to do with like relationships when it comes to men, such as marriage or just dating relationships, or maybe I'll say relationships with individuals in general. A lot of times, if speaking up has given me a negative outcome in the past,
that's it.
Then sometimes it's that traumatic to that person on the outcome or the response that they had that came from speaking up, whatever that situation is. And so in that, the person that they had to speak up to or whoever they spoke to may not even took it as something that could be traumatic to someone else. But that's why it's always very important to create that safe place for someone to speak up, or for a man or a young boy to speak up, because when we create that safe place, it doesn't matter what it is. Your voice is valuable. Your voice is important, and your perception is important. And I believe that's the thing that we're really trying to convey with this episode, is that it is important to give someone the aspect of being able to speak, the safe place to be able to speak, whether they're young or old, because even in the early ages, we plant that seed where you don't ask questions, or you don't talk back, or you don't say this, or your word is not valuable.
Express your feelings, and that's the key.
Yeah, you don't express your feelings. And so what we do is we start holding that in, and it just creates a bigger problem or a larger issue.
So like, think about this. It says, like, I know, like, growing up as boys, you're supposed to be tough. You know, it says you're supposed to, we tell the kids all the time, suck it up. You know what I'm saying? Boys don't cry. You know, so in essence, we're training our boys to hold in their feelings and not to express what's really going on inside.
Yeah.
We're creating future men who may struggle speaking out.
Yeah.
So I'm telling y'all right now, it's vital that we build relationships with our young boys, because they're going to become men one day.
Yeah.
And whatever we're training them now is going to manifest when they are men.
Absolutely.
So we have just got to really just think about it. I mean, so if we want so as men right now who have experienced voicelessness, if we don't want our boys to experience that, we need to start training them now.
For sure. And it's very important, because the more that they can rehearse that it's okay to speak in their head, where it's okay to have an opinion, your perspective matter, the more that they can rehearse that and dissect that and own that, take ownership of it, the better. And the earlier, the better, because I'm telling you, there's broken men right now that would be in a much better place if they were taught these things early on.
Hands down. And also, going back to childhood, if you've never seen a man speak up, if you never seen a man have their opinion value
modeled in front of,
come on, there you go. So if I've never seen it, so when I become a man myself, it's not normal for me to speak up. It's not normal for me to feel valued. So I go about being unheard. So we have got to model,
absolutely,
me and you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We've got to model the behavior and the confidence and the ability to speak and speak well and have great communication, so our kids can grow up and have it as well.
Yes, sir. And I will say too, just to add to it, and then it could be situations as a child or as an adult, as a male, it could be situations as well where I spoke up, but I wasn't heard.
That's good.
I spoke up, I wasn't heard. You listened, but you wasn't hearing what I was saying. You know how sometimes people listen to speak versus listening to hear and understanding, and to understand and comprehend what it is that you're saying. So to the women or to whoever it is, if you're really trying to help create a safe place or an opportunity for or if you really want to be a help with this situation, to create that place for the men or a young man to speak up, create that safe place, listen, and accept and be responsible, and to engage into the conversation of what the person is saying, and allow them that moment, and don't justify, but this, or no, hear what they're saying, and let them know that that it matter, because there's a time for everything. And I think a lot of times when it comes to relationships, and I know we're going to talk about that on down through this episode, but even when it comes to relationships, sometimes when men speak about things, we as females, we bring up, but you did this, or what about when you did this that time, and so on. But you've had your moment. This moment right here is about what I'm bringing to the table. And that's not to justify whatever it is that you may have an issue with it as far as the female, but you got to be able to listen to what he is saying, or what has him feeling the way he feels at this moment.
If you're not listening, then that just goes into more of why the man feels voiceless.
For sure.
He doesn't feel valued. So as a man, when we speak, because most of the time the women are speaking, because that's just what they do. So when your man actually starts to speak, or he needs to talk to you, he just really needs to talk. He don't need for you to try to fix him. He don't need for you to do anything in that moment but listen and hear him, take it in, and see what kind of outcome you guys can agree to. And like my man just said, when somebody is bringing an issue to you, that's not your time to bring up all your issues. That shows a lack of immaturity. So we have got to get to the point where we are mature adults and we can handle tough conversation. Because this is going to be a tough conversation when your man brings this to you. He's feeling like that he's not heard. So going on with that, as men, we have to step up our communication skills. Lack of communication skills is also why men become voiceless.
Absolutely.
And piggybacking on what Dwayne said earlier, your past mistakes within relationships and your relationship also makes a man become voiceless because he's thinking like, man, she's gonna bring up what I did in the past. You know what I'm saying, to override my feelings and what I'm talking about right now.
That's funny that you say that, because even when you said that right there, I instantly thought about, if I see how you handle someone else.
Ooh, that's a good one.
If I see how you handle someone else in a similar situation and I didn't agree with it, but I seen you have gave me an insight, a preview of how you're going to treat me in my situation or a similar situation. You got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that that's something else too. And that's not to say that one person is better than the other, or we understand that no one is perfect, but we're talking about voiceless men, and we're trying to help within this episode to give tools to help not just the men, but to help the women as well, because when the man is better, the woman is better.
Yes.
When the woman is better and the man is better, the kids and the family is better. When we are in alignment as husband and wife, the marriage is better.
That boy dropping knowledge.
So that's the thing. So we have to make sure that we are in alignment. Now, anyone that desires to be better desires to give the safe place. Anyone that desires to be better desires to do whatever I need to do to put in the work to make the situation better. Because no one should intentionally want anyone to be held back or to not become their best version, or to leave them in our captivity of our own trauma. Because a lot of times the reason why we don't, just to be honest, a lot of times it may be a situation where why we don't give men the voice, or the reason why we got to shut them down and so on, because we got this own trauma that we're dealing with. We have this own trauma that we're dealing with, and I got to get you before you get me. And so that's what I'm saying. We all have to understand that, yes, we are all broken, but let's not be content in our brokenness.
That's good, man. Just speaking about the dynamics of the relationship, I see a lot of times where the women, and okay, let's say this: women, we're not bashing women. We're not
for sure.
We're just really trying to solve this issue of voiceless men. So a lot of times I see women speaking for their man, answering questions addressed to him or defending him, because she feel like he can't, or he ain't bold enough to defend himself. Do you know what that does to a man? That's disrespectful. First off, y'all may not know it. Women, you may not know it, but as a man, if my wife is speaking for me, if she's addressing people for me, if she's handling things that I'm supposed to handle, if she's cutting me off when somebody asks me a question, that's disrespectful. You have got to let your man learn. You have got to let him grow. You cannot always step in to save him. He don't need to be saved. That's not what you're there for. You're there to help him, but not to save him.
Come on. And so even in a situation like that, women, if you feel the need to even have to do that, to jump in a conversation and speak for your man, and in turn when he needs to be speaking, that is a situation where you allow him to go through that experience and to speak up for himself. But on the back end, you do not have to miss the opportunity to have a conversation with him later. And say, hey, later and say, hey, so in a situation like this, it is important that you speak up. And just my opinion, I'm not a male, but this is why it's important for you to speak up. This is probably why it's important that you do it in this way. So I think a lot of times women think that men are not open to hearing what it is that they have to suggestions that they may have for men, or to hear what they're saying and so on. But the communication and the conversation is one thing that we often have to remember is that we are on the same team.
Team.
We're on the same team, and so when we remember that we're on the same team, we should want each of us to have to be their best and to see their best version and to give their best version. That's it. That's it. I want to see it your best. But I will say this too before we go over to before we go to a quote. I will say this too, that even though we said voiceless men, so it's pretty natural to kind of go back and kind of be targeting the women to a point, because that is kind of sort of, we're just trying to expose this knowledge to the women so they can understand why some men are voices, not so much a target them. But I will say too that men, sometime if we're not careful, we will develop a mentality where we help men to become voiceless, because not only we have to work against a society that seems and appears to be against men, or the ladies that may not have an understanding of the concept of men and so on, but we can belittle each other.
True.
As well. And it's important that we make sure that we do ourselves to empower one another, to speak up and to stand firm, and to coach young men on how to speak up and to give your perspective and how to deliver what it is that you're saying, how not to be so aggressive when you're speaking, and so on. So those things are very important. As men, we should be our brother's keeper.
True that.
Yes, sir.
Last one that I had on what are some causes of why men become voiceless: overly aggressive spouse or significant other. When as a man, when we're in a relationship or married to a woman that is just super aggressive, that is just loud, and that's her personality. That's how she was raised. She don't know no different. But in essence, she is stripping that man of his voice.
Yeah.
And now that man is kind of cowering down, because man, if she's loud on an everyday basis, how loud do you think she's gonna be when something go left?
Yeah.
So we ain't trying to deal with that.
Sir. Yes, sir. I agree with that.
Go ahead.
I agree with that. No, I was just gonna ask you, what quote did you have to go along with this question?
So my quote, I had one quote for this one. It says, "Childhood trauma casts a shadow that will take a lifetime to reel in."
Wow.
So childhood trauma will cast a shadow that takes a lifetime to reel in.
Wow.
Man.
That's good.
It speaks for itself.
It does. It does. I got one quote. It says, "The world needs your perspective. Don't keep it silent." The world needs your perspective. And I almost said a quote that I got on down the road, but let's just keep that in mind. The world needs your perspective, because it's one thing, if we don't voice how we feel, then we're endorsing a behavior that is dysfunctional. We're endorsing a cycle to continue to go on that will never be fixed. It will continue to repeat until we give our perspective, and to be able to become a voice to so many others that may struggle in those same areas. And then there are some ladies, let's give credit where credit is due. There are some ladies, some women that desire to be able to help a man. And that's why it's very important for us to speak up.
That's good stuff. So what I want you guys to do is just, comment, write any type of causes you feel like why men become voiceless.
Yes.
All right, so we're getting ready to tackle question number 2. Dwayne, what we got?
Question number 2. How can you tell when a man has become voiceless? How can you tell when a man becomes voiceless? I'll let you answer it first, and then I go into my perspective.
Okay, so on this one, I'm just going to run down a list that I have, and then we can break it down. We can kind of go back and forth.
Yes, sir.
I'm run this list down of some things that I've noticed, that I've read, that I've studied, that I've seen. Why men, how can you tell when men becomes voiceless? He becomes very passive. Very passive.
Yeah.
He lets you make all the major decisions. And when I say lets you make, I'm talking about the wife or the significant other. He lets you make all the major decisions. He communicates with you less. He avoids conflict. He's more irritable than usual. I mean, he on edge. He's irritable, just for no reason. He's more irritable than usual. He's short-tempered. He doesn't pursue physical touch or intimacy or sex. He's emotionally withdrawn, and he takes offense to things that that normally wouldn't bother him.
Yeah.
So when you notice these things going on with your man, his voice has been stripped. What you got, Dwayne?
Yes, sir. So I actually had a lot of the things that you just said, but I will say also, um, he doesn't want to be around much.
Mm.
He doesn't want to be in the environment much.
Mm-hmm.
In which the environment in which
Found another outlet.
you are. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. He's working out more.
Yep. Yep.
He's staying at work later.
Yes, sir. He's spending more time with the
He's
kids.
spending more time with the kids. He's outside in the garage. Or he's just sleep. You know, he's sleeping. But he pretty much has checked out. You can tell a demeanor change in the way that he's speaking to everyone or he vibe with everyone else outside of
Bro, that's good.
outside of you and him or so on. So it's very important. It's vital. I'm telling you, we're giving you some nuggets right now. That's very vital. And so he pretty much has checked out, and he's not okay with it, but he's at the point where he feel like it doesn't even matter anymore. And so he's at that point and doesn't even see the out.
Nope.
He doesn't even see the out. And but I'll tell you one thing about men is that quitting is usually not their option.
Yeah.
Especially not for a good man.
Yeah. A loyal guy, a faithful guy.
Yeah, a faithful guy, a good man of the house, a good family man. Quitting is never an option. But the pressure and the burdens that's on him is overbearing.
Mm-hmm.
Is overbearing. And so, in my opinion, again, it's very important to have that safe place, because I'm telling you, it does not feel good to be in that position, to feel like you're not heard. And then you often have to be careful too, because many times they can become so vulnerable to another situation or another person that's intentional on making them matter.
Yeah.
Or to feel like they've been heard. Now, when I say another person, it could be infidelity or so on, but it also can be an addiction or something else that becomes that replacement from having to be in the presence of someone that does not appreciate me or hear me or even think my perspective or my presence even matter.
Yeah. That's I mean, you hit it on the head, bro. Because if a man is not, sooner or later, I don't care how good that man is, if that man doesn't talk to his spouse about the situation, he's going to talk to somebody else about that situation.
Wow.
And so if he opens up to somebody else, ladies, then that lady's going to steal his heart. And she don't even have to look better than you. Just going to be honest. She ain't got to have nothing but a willingness to make him feel like he is important and like he matters and that he's heard. That's all it takes.
And it happens before he even realizes it.
It'll suck him in real quick. And I'm telling you, but women, wives, significant others, it's so easy though to get us back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Before we even get to that point, all you have to do is just pay attention to us. We like to be seen.
Yeah.
We like to know that we matter.
And respect it. Yeah.
I mean, above all things, respect it.
Yeah.
So what we're wanting, when you notice these things going on, you know what I'm saying? When you notice your husband is different, your man is different, he ain't locked in like he used to, he kind of slowly slipping into depression. You need to sit down, block everything out, make it all about him for that moment. See what's going on with him, talk to him, hear him, and then make the adjustments. And I promise you can bring that man out real quick.
It's so important.
So let me run down this list one more time, and then we'll hit some quotes. If you got anything else, you can go ahead and plug that in after this too. All right, so like I said, he becomes very passive. He lets you make all the major decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like he's checked out. Like whatever you want to do, babe, just whatever. You know what I'm saying? Big purchases. You know what I'm saying? Decision with the kids. He lets you make all the major decisions. Communicates with you less. Avoids conflict. More irritable than usual. Short-tempered. Doesn't pursue physical touch and sex. If a man does not pursue physical touch,
something wrong.
He's way out there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's dealing with silent frustration, and he feels like his wife don't even want him. She don't even find him attractive anymore. Yeah. So I'm telling you, when your husband, when you know he normally is all over you and everything, and he's going weeks without touching you, hey, don't let that keep going.
Yeah.
You go address that issue with him yourself.
Yeah.
Sit down and talk about it.
If you care.
If you care. Then he gets emotionally withdrawn and takes offense to things that he normally wouldn't bother him. What you got, Dwayne?
So another thing that I was gonna say too, and I kind of missed this on the first question that we was talking about when we said some reasons what causes men to be voiceless. Sometimes it's just the burden of I don't want her to know about the weight that I'm carrying because I don't the other person haven't exemplified that they have the strength for me to even open up to talk to them.
Shielding her.
You got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I believe that's something else too, like being able to develop the strength to help, to be a helpmate, to help him carry the weight that he's carrying, or to even listen to him, hear him, and to help him work through that. You got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even in that, sometimes you can get him help through you, or you can research or whatever it is on areas that could help him. You got what I'm saying? Yeah. But you will never know the silent frustrations that he is dealing with if we don't create that place to be able to have dialogue and conversation. And that's why it's important where even some moments we have to swallow our pride. Even in moments where ladies or whoever, you know that you're right, even in those moments, allowing him to speak and to give his version and perspective. That's hearing him. That's letting him know that his voice matter and his perspective matter. But then he may not have even looked at the situation in the way that you're presenting it to him in response sometime. Well, hey, I was thinking about what you said, not even in that moment. Let him have his moment. But hey, I was thinking about what you said. What do you think about this right here? You got what I'm saying? Yeah. So the way that we deliver our response sometimes has a lot to do with
tone.
Has a lot to do with the tone and everything. But to get back to this question number 2, that's pretty much what I had right there. How can you tell when a man has become voiceless? Like we said, even in conversation, you know, sometimes you can find yourself having a conversation with your wife or a girlfriend or spouse or whoever. You can find yourself having a conversation and you start voicing your opinion, and then you be like, never mind, don't even worry about it. You know, don't worry about it. Yeah. You know, instantly, because you built the urge up, but it was a demeanor. It was something that just made
body language.
Your body language is something that just made me say, nah, you know. You got what I'm saying? And I know what people thinking. Why men so sensitive? They shouldn't be so sensitive.
Man, we got the same emotions as women.
Yeah.
We just handle them different.
Exactly.
God created the same emotions.
I'll tell you this, a lot of women don't know this, but there are men that do like to cuddle too.
Yeah.
Real talk. Yeah.
Most men are, one of their love languages is going to be physical touch.
Yeah, physical touch. Like
we want...
rub my back, rub my bald head or something.
Man, come on. That's a whole other topic, man.
Yes, sir.
Let's get these quotes so we can get the question number 3.
So here go the quote for me. It says, there's always a possibility that your voice could be the key to unlock someone else's. That's why it's important, men, for us to be bold enough to speak up, because there's always a possibility that it's your voice that's going to be the key to unlock someone else.
That's good stuff.
That's afraid to.
That's good stuff.
I'm telling you.
My one quote is, when a man becomes voiceless, he's entering hopelessness and is now in survival mode.
Wow.
When a man becomes voiceless, he's entering hopelessness and is now in survival mode.
Wow.
Man is literally trying to survive. He's trying not to slip off the edge.
Wow.
Don't push me because I'm close to the edge.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and go to question number 3.
It's on you.
All right, question number 3. It says, how does fear of conflict play a role when addressing issues with our spouse or significant other? Fear of conflict. How does it play a role? I would say this, fear of conflict is a big reason why men become voiceless. And it is because we do not want to deal with the attitude. We do not want to deal with the outcome.
Yes.
We don't want to deal with the sarcasm.
Yes.
We don't want to deal with the woman bringing up old and past mistakes.
Yes. That has nothing to do with the situation that's on.
We don't want to deal with the loud talking, the condescending remarks, and the possibility of being cut off.
Yeah.
You know, in some marriages, in some relationships, the woman to get mad enough to, well, I'm just gonna withhold myself. I'm gonna cut you off.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
So instead of, you know what I'm saying, dealing, bringing up something that will have a conflict and voicing our opinion or opening our mouths and saying stuff, we just be quiet because you don't want to deal with all that stuff on the back end. He needs to know that it's not about me versus you, but it's about us versus the problem.
Yeah.
And so as long as a man feels like, you know, if I bring something up, I'm going to be attacked.
Yeah.
He's going to hold it in.
Absolutely.
It's going to strengthen his voicelessness.
Yeah.
See, when a man equates unheard to unappreciated.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm telling you now, ladies, when a man feels unheard, he equivalates that to being unappreciated.
Yes.
And when a man gets into the point where he feel like he's unappreciated, that's when all these negative things start happening in a relationship and within himself.
Yes.
I saw this video on YouTube or social media or whatever the case may be, and this lady was saying, she's like, men want two pieces. Okay, as a man, we want peace in our home.
Yes.
And we want a piece of you.
Yes,
if
sir.
you giving a man peace, if he can walk into his house and it's peaceful, and then he know that, you know, my wife gonna take care of me, I'm gonna get a piece.
Yes, sir.
So I got the peace and the peace. Hey, we ain't really that hard to please. You know what I'm saying? Hear us. Give us that peace. Let us, when we walk into the home, when we walk into your environment, when we walk into your presence, let us know. We should know without a shadow of a doubt, man, when I see my spouse, when I see my significant other, it is peaceful. She brings me peace. She adds peace to my life.
Yes.
And it's not chaos. It's not all this loudness. So we love the peace and we love the peace.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just being real with you.
And listen, I'll be honest too. And these are some tools. These are some nuggets. I'll be honest too. Try this, ladies. Try when he gets home, embrace him with a hug. Mm-hmm. Embrace him with a kiss. Ask him, how was your day today? Is there anything you want to talk about today? You know, create that safe place. Today, you know what? I want to be more intentional. I just want to hear about your day. I just want to know how things went today. You know, or so on. So like, let him know that his voice matters. Let him know again that his perspective matters. Let him know that his thoughts matter, and let him know that you value him for who he is. And because I'm telling you, at the end of the day, if you really want to encourage a man, like, let him know that he's appreciated.
So like, I remember with my wife, with our sons, we had bought this house or whatever, nice home crib, whatever, and the boys be playing, diving on the couch, hitting, running to walls, and she was yelling at them one time, talking about, man, y'all gotta take care of this stuff. This is nice. This blah blah blah. I said, listen, man. This all they know. This is normal to them.
They did it at the other house.
Exactly. Because the other house was solid. Mm-hmm. Now they didn't grow up like we grew up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, in an older home or whatever. But they got a different lifestyle than what we had growing up. So this is their normal. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm getting at is this. Don't always be so quick to take what is normal and devalue it.
Yeah.
Okay. When it comes to your relationship, what your man or your woman does.
Yeah.
Value what they do. Appreciate what they do. And I promise you, if you, like Dwayne would say, if you greet your husband when he walk in the house, he gonna love that. It's simple stuff that men like, because we like to be seen, we like to know we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I do have something else. So as you were speaking, I don't know why, but this just came to me. Even when the men take risk to do something, to really to try to better not just themselves but the family, whether it's a business or to do something that's out of their norm, but it's to really better themselves or to better the family, and they may fail the first time, don't throw it back up in their face when they try to do it again.
That's good stuff.
Don't do that, because that allows that helps the man to become voiceless in the area, and it endorses, because success is not hard as what people think, but there are stumbling blocks along the way.
Understand.
So, for example, if he goes and try to start a business or to start something, to take a risk of doing something outside of the box to create something better for the family. But if he does that and it doesn't go through the first time and he end up in the negative, I think you mentioned that on episode number 1 that
Yeah.
you made a $10,000 investment and you lost everything. So your response as a spouse, your response as a female and so on, or a helpmate, it shouldn't be, I told you shouldn't do that, or it should not be that this is, stay in your lane. This is not your lane. It shouldn't be that. It should be encouraging, what can we do differently next time? Or I respect you for taking the risk of trying to step into something that you're learning and that you believe in and so on. But be encouraging to him, but don't shut him down. You got what I'm saying? Because there are a lot of successful people that have made it to a certain level of success, but they had to run into the same stumbling blocks along the way. And so what happens is that because no one is familiar with the stumbling blocks along the way, when we get to them, we quit.
Yeah.
We quit. So we get to the stumbling block. The man stepped out. He said, "Hey, I'm gonna try to make this investment," and so on. He stepped out, try to make that investment, and it didn't go the way he expected, and so it becomes a stumbling block. But in that moment, he needs the support of the lady or of the wife or so on. So don't beat him down or whatever, because it's just a stumbling block. But the reason why a lot of times some people do not make it to the success is because we're never talking about the stumbling blocks along the way. But it takes those to appreciate the level of success. So success is reachable, it's attainable, but we have to understand as spouses and work as a team, as a unit, to say this is the part of it. What can we do together to try to make it work the next go around, or to look at this in a different aspect? And I will say too, even in that, men, it's communication is important to make sure that we still just kind of give insight to our spouses or significant others and so on, to make sure that we are on the same page. But again, in order for the man to feel comfortable into doing that, young ladies, is to be able to create that space where he can talk and you be receptive to what it is he's saying or the vision that he has. And then if you can't trust the man that God has placed in your life, or if you can't trust the man that you're with, you shouldn't be with him. You should not be with him.
But you knew that going into the marriage. I mean, and once you get married, it ain't no backing out now just because I can't trust you. I mean, y'all gonna have to work through that. Y'all gonna have to figure that thing out.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna tell you this too. Men, you may have a wife that wants to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
The same way, you would like for her to support you.
Absolutely.
Because and women, you keep that same mindset too. It's like, hey, so I'm gonna support you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In your dreams and your goals and your vision, just like I would want you to support me and mine.
That's how we should want it
So
to be.
that's how it should be. So it's like y'all sit down, talk, y'all communicate, and y'all come to an agreement. Now let me hit you with this quote because we got to get ready.
Yes,
to move
sir.
on.
Let's go.
All right. So my quote for this one is this. This like I said, this is dealing with the fear of conflict. Okay. It says this. We take a hit to our pride just to keep the peace inside.
Wow.
As men, we take a hit to our pride just to keep the peace on the inside.
Wow. And so I got a quote to follow along with that, because I have been talking about communication some and the importance of communication. And I do believe that is a issue that comes along when it comes to conflicts between, in the relationship. So the quote that I have, it says, communication is the bridge that connects two hearts. Don't let your silence build the walls.
Ooh, that's good stuff.
Let me say that again. Communication is the bridge that connects two hearts. Don't let your silence build the walls. So, men, what I'm telling you is that you have to get to the point of being able to speak up. Now, so there are great women out here. There are some good women out here that just may not understand how to create that safe place. So it's your job, men. I will say it's your job as well to be able to say, I need this safe place. I need to be able to talk to you about this. I need to be vulnerable with you. I need to be open with you, and to be able to allow you the opportunity to help me process some of the things that I'm thinking. I'm telling you, and ladies, if we work on our deliverance and we work on our
you meant delivery.
yeah, our delivery and our response, if we work on our response and in a loving way, I think it'd be a game changer
Yeah.
of both parties.
Yeah, I agree.
That's just my opinion.
All right, and the last quote I got is,
Yeah.
I want peace, but not at the cost of being silent. I want peace, but not at the cost of being silent.
Wow.
So we want peace in our home and our life, but we don't want it at the cost of us not being able to say anything, or at the cost of the man being voiceless.
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready to go on to the next one?
We're ready for the next one. It's question number 4.
What you got? You taking that one?
Yeah, I got it. So question number 4. Why are men reluctant to being vulnerable? Why are men reluctant to be vulnerable?
Man, I'm just gonna run this down real quick. Why are men reluctant to be vulnerable? We don't want to seem weak. We don't want it thrown back in our face.
Yeah.
What we just said, what we just opened up about. We don't really trust our spouse yet on that level.
Yeah.
Okay, it just is what it is. We have been burned before.
Yeah. And we mentioned it earlier. Yes, sir.
We done been burnt before.
Yes, sir.
And being vulnerable in the past did not achieve the desired outcome.
Yeah.
So those are some of the reasons why men are reluctant to be vulnerable.
Yes, sir. I got so I have many men are reluctant to be vulnerable due to societal expectations, to vulnerability and with weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so and I also had they may fear of being judged or being rejected.
That's a big one.
Yeah,
rejection.
The fear of being judged or rejected, and yeah, that feeling like you're going to be rejected. I'm telling you, like I remember back in the days. This is back in the days when I was in the school, and if it was a female that I wanted to holler at, I had one of my buddies to be like, "Hey, try to hook me up with old girl. See if she'll talk to me." And if she reject me, I'm already planning that. If she reject me, be like, he lying. You know, I didn't say that anyway. Man, why you tell her that? You know what I'm saying? Because that fear of rejection was real. You know, and men can't handle rejection. You know, well, I won't say they can't handle it, but it really hurts. Especially like even if it comes to sex.
Oh yes.
Even if it comes to sex, in marriage and so on. Because I think a lot of times, I'm not saying all women, but I think a lot of times, a lot of women just look at it as being sex.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when it comes to marriage.
They don't understand how.
But it's deeper than that.
For the man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get into that if you don't mind.
Well,
and we're talking about rejection.
Yeah.
Know.
So in that rejection, I mean, I think a lot of times, you know, like a wife will say, you know, well, all you want is sex. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you say that when, you know, we've built this whole life together?
Yeah.
You know, I'm doing things. My role is being fulfilled in every aspect. I'm not just going to work, come home doing nothing, and then trying to go straight to the bedroom. That's not the case. So I think we got to get out of our mind, or the women's mind, that you think that all your man wants is sex. That's not true. But naturally, your man was created to want to have sex with you.
Yeah.
So in its essence, the way God created us, yes, your man wants to have sex. Yes, your husband wants to have sex with you. So with us though, when we're intimate with our wives, man, it brings about a level of connection.
Yeah.
A level of appreciation. A level of just like it's also de-stresses us.
Yeah.
So it's bigger than just, hey, I just want you to lay down and we just want to get it in. No. Now there is a difference between sex and making love. That's a whole, like I said, we can get into all that kind of stuff
later. But
what I'm saying is this: women, your man will not make a move on you if you haven't given him some type of clue, some type of, you know, sign that you in the mood, because he don't want to take that chance of being rejected.
Yeah.
Because the more he feels rejected, you ain't just rejecting him from sex, you're rejecting him.
Yeah.
So he feels like he has been rejected. His own wife, the one he been thinking about all day. Think about that now. You're the only woman that he can have.
Yeah.
He been thinking about you all day.
Yeah.
But he's at times,
and he's attracted to you.
Oh, very attracted. Yeah. But at times he's afraid of the rejection.
Yeah.
So that goes back to that safe place that you got to have with your spouse.
Yeah.
That communication.
Yeah.
But also going into that, men, we have to know why our wives is not in the mood.
Yeah.
You know, are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? So it goes
Yes,
both
sir.
ways. But at the
Yes,
same
sir.
time, wives, trust me, your husband
Yeah.
wants you.
Yeah.
He wakes up wanting you. He goes to sleep wanting you.
Yeah.
So
You wake up in the middle of the night.
wanting you. So just get on the same page when it
Yes,
comes to that. 'Cause
sir.
I'm telling you, men, when we get rejected, it hits us in a place, man. Like we just lost the final four, and you know what I'm saying, in March Madness. You know what I'm saying? It hits us hard.
It is, because a lot of times we go so hard. I really don't think women understand, when you really have a real man, how far above and beyond he goes.
Mm.
For
But it becomes normal. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like they
Yeah.
see it, but this is what's crazy though. Their friends
Yeah.
will see it,
Yeah.
and they be like, "Man,"
Yeah.
but to her, it's normal.
Yes.
So, and that's why it's harder for
Yes.
women to show that appreciation,
Yes.
because they have adjusted to it.
Yes.
So they have to be intentional, like you
Yes.
said earlier, about how they move and maneuver with their husband. Just like how men, we have to be intentional.
Yeah.
Because if you've got you a beautiful wife and she's doing all these she's handling business, she holds it down.
Yeah.
That becomes normal to us too.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be intentional. Okay, what's my wife's love language?
Mm-hmm.
What does she like to do?
Yep.
What perfume does she like?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What does she like to eat? You know, you could cash app your wife just
Yeah.
$12, be like, hey,
Yeah.
baby, lunch on me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just figure out what makes your wife washing the dishes,
Yeah.
taking care of the boys
Yep.
for the night, putting the boy, like whatever that thing is that she normally does, do it for her.
And sometimes for women, it's not even really big things. Just
Nope.
to be honest, not for most women. So sometimes it can be as men. Some things you can do is just simple as just sending a text throughout the day. I love you, or just some type of little thing, or just a handwritten letter to, or something like we used to do back in the day, or. Sometimes I just go and buy a whole bunch of different type of snacks and candies that my wife like, and put them in a little gift bag for her and give them to her so she can have at her office at work. You got what I'm saying?
Go on lunch dates.
But there's snacks though and things like that I know she likes. So the bigger thing is she know that I pay attention to what she likes.
Yeah.
You got what I'm saying? So there's some thought that went into it.
Yes.
So a lot of times it's just those small things, or even if it come down to rubbing her feet or so on, just, you have, again, with both parties, the husband and the wife, the women and men, you got to be able to pay attention to these different things, because yes, both parties have needs, but it's very important. And then I'll be honest, it's very important to communicate those needs as well, because I can't read your mind and you can't read mine. That's why we have to create those safe places so that we can talk about these different things.
But you just said it though, talking about it, communicating. That's another thing, dealing with being vulnerable. Like sometimes, man, we don't want to talk about it because last time we talked about it, nothing changed, or it changed only for a season, or it only changed for a couple of weeks. It's like they'll make a change, but when they really figure out how much sacrifice it takes, it's like, you know what? I just let life get in the way, and then so that's what I'm saying, ladies. It's most men are going to be very consistent. They're gonna want things done consistently. Yeah. When you have a solid man, he is going to be predictable in a good way though. Yeah. You already know what you getting. It ain't he's always here. So like I said, we're reluctant to be vulnerable, man, because like I said, a lot of times it's a sign of weakness. People want to say this is weakness. No, I'm not being weak. I'm just being open. The true sign of love is being vulnerable. Yeah. Like if I don't love you, then I'm never gonna be vulnerable.
I want you to be as vulnerable as possible.
And see, the
more vulnerable I am, the more that the deeper that I am in this marriage, right, in this relationship.
I want you to be vulnerable,
yes, sir,
with me, so I can show you that I can handle the vulnerability that you just showed me.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? Like, be open and vulnerable with me, so I can show you that I am who I say I am.
Don't use it against me.
Come on,
please.
Let me protect you. Let me help you. Show me what all your flaws are.
Yeah.
I can help you with some of these flaws.
Yeah.
You want to do what? You want to do this? Okay. come to me.
Yeah.
Like as your spouse, husbands,
Yeah.
go to your wives, go to open up to
Yes.
them.
Yes.
See what they're all about.
Yes.
Give them the opportunity to see if they can
Yeah.
handle your vulnerability.
Yeah. But you know, a lot of times the crazy thing is sometimes both people can be thinking about the needs that they have and what it is that they desire from the other one, but neither one communicate.
Can't read your mind.
Neither one of them communicate, and as a whole, as a unit, we suffer.
That's
And
true.
so that's why it's important. So yes, sir, that's it. So
let me hit them with this quote, and
Okay.
then we go to our last.
yeah,
quote
and I got a
tonight.
quote as well. So you
All
go ahead.
All right, so my quote is this. It says, being vulnerable isn't being weak. It's a sign that you are willing to love and possibly take a hit. You know, just type up some reason why you feel men are reluctant to be vulnerable.
The mask of masculinity is heavy, but burden of vulnerability is heavier.
That's good stuff.
It is heavier, and that's something that we have to think about. So it's very important that we lift our voice and we speak up, because of being vulnerable and keeping it to ourselves is just a weight that is too heavy for us to be trying to carry.
All right.
That's it.
My man over there kicking that knowledge. Here
That's
we go.
it.
Last question.
Last question.
Here we go. What are some things men can do to get their voice heard?
Woo-wee.
What are some things men can do to get their voice heard, my guy?
Okay, so some of the things that men can do is, number one, build up enough courage to speak up. Yes, you may have done it before, but speak up in a different way of saying to, for example, your wife or the lady in your life, of being able to say, I have something that I would like to say to you. And I really pray that you give me this safe place, or that you hear me out before speaking. Like, set it up and let them know the importance of having this space for me to be able to speak and say what it is that I have to say.
All right.
You know, and that's just one thing that they could possibly do. But go ahead. I got some more, but you
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, because I'm gonna dig up these other ones that I have.
Okay. All right. So he said on the first one was be courageous.
Yeah. Be courageous.
Be courageous is basically what he got down to. One of the ones I have on here is deal with your childhood trauma.
Yes.
Okay. Deal with your childhood trauma. Most of the issues that we deal with in our adult life started in our childhood life. So deal with those. How do you deal with those?
Yeah.
I'm glad you asked.
Yes.
Man, elevated chat room. We in here. We got the answer.
Yeah.
You need to go to counseling.
Yeah.
Go to counseling. Go to therapy.
Yeah.
Sit down.
Don't be too prideful.
Come on. I know in some communities, some cultures, going to counseling and therapy is frowned upon. But if you want help, you need to talk to somebody.
You know, I got something else that just came to mind too as you were speaking. Men, another way that you can help to get your voice back is, do not subliminally endorse a behavior from her in context of someone else. So let me give you an example of what I'm saying. If you know she's talking ill, or she's responding ill, or in a way that you know you wouldn't like for her to respond towards you, don't be in agreement with that behavior that she's doing over here. Because a lot of times that's your opportunity to have a voice by speaking on that situation, because then she understands, if I don't need to speak in this situation or toward that situation that way, then I shouldn't be speaking towards him like that when he speak up. Or when, you got what I'm saying?
Hold on, that's
deep,
good.
Right?
I remember one time, it only happened one time. I've been with my wife, man, maybe we've been married by we be 13 years this year.
Yeah.
So we've been together about 18 years. And early on in our marriage, something was going on with her dad.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, she had just finally reached her breaking point with her dad, and she kind of got, a little snappy with him.
Wow.
And I was like, hey,
yeah,
you can't talk to your dad like that.
Yeah.
Just like I wouldn't like
perfect example.
Getting on her.
But that's the perfect example.
Like, hey, you do know you can't talk to your dad.
That's the perfect example.
And she was like, yeah, he was aggravating, but she was like, yeah, you're right. Because my thing is this: if I see a pattern
Yeah.
You talking to your dad like that?
I know
I don't stand a chance.
Yeah. I know at some point it's gonna come around.
I don't stand a chance.
You got what I'm saying?
So it was just like in those moments, like you were just saying, like, hey, try to figure out how to correct the behavior.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Without being like her daddy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like being her best friend in the moment. Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? If that was my home, if that was mine, I'm like, hey, my guy, you know you talking to your wife. Like,
for sure.
It's just like you just go into that friend mode. Like, hey, I'm trying to do what's best. For you and your marriage. Or so in that situation, I'm trying to do what's best for my wife. And her dad. But that was just a little small example.
Have a certain integrity or a certain moral that you just won't stand for. So if I'm not okay with you doing it to someone else or me responding to someone else in this way, then you should automatically know that it's not okay to respond to me or me respond to you in such a way. You got what I'm saying? So that's another way that you can, get your voice back, fellas.
Learn how to communicate, guys.
Just
learn how to communicate. Go follow you somebody on social media, go buy your book on communicating. Communicate with your wife, learn your wife. There's a book that we're going over right now at our church for marriage couples. It's Men Are Like Waffles, Women Are Like Spaghetti.
Wow.
Men are like waffles, women are like spaghetti. Okay, men, we live in boxes. Like in a waffle, you got little boxes, right? So men, we're in boxes. Everything is like, we compartmentalize pretty much everything in our life for the most part. Of course, there's varying things on the spectrum, but in women, everything's intertwined. Spaghetti, like it's just bam, slap. So like she can connect, something that happened with her father with something going on at work. Like in my mind, it ain't got nothing to do with that. But in their mind, because they're different. So we got to realize that our spouses are different and embrace those differences. But if you don't learn the differences, it can break your marriage down. And this is the last one I have on that. Then you can take over and then we'll close it out.
Okay.
All right. So, man, I'm going to challenge you on this one. It's kind of a challenge to you guys and to myself. It says, become a better version of yourself. Okay. Learn how to receive feedback and focus on personal development. Okay. Man, we've just got to do better. We talk to these kids, right? And they'll be like, well, one of the main things they always say, well, my dad's not in my life. My dad wasn't there, so that's why I'm in it. I was like, look, okay, we understand your dad wasn't there. Now what? We ain't gonna use that as no crutch from here on forward.
For sure.
So, man, because something happened to us when we was younger, because we never been taught how to communicate. Okay, I get that. Now what? What we gonna do? Now it's time for us to step up and become the men that we desire to be. Become the men that get our voice back. And be courageous. All right, Dwayne.
Your voice is the legacy that you leave behind. I'll say it again. Your voice is the legacy that you leave behind. Do not withhold your voice. Your voice is important. And the things that you are created to do and become is needed. And there's a younger man somewhere that is dependent on your voice.
That's good stuff, man.
That's it.
So episode 2 of the Elevated Chat Room was titled Voiceless Men.
Voiceless Men.
Breaking the Silence. I want you guys to make sure you guys lock in, subscribe, watch, download, share, comment. Get the word out. We're going to be dropping, every Tuesday at 10 o'clock as of right now is what we got planned. So our first episode will be dropping Tuesday, 10 o'clock. 10 a.m. Lock in. All right. Like I said, we've enjoyed it. Elevate your mind, elevate your life.
Elevate your mind, elevate your life. This is our second episode. We're so grateful you all tuning in. We appreciate it so much. Like Lonzo said, be sure to share. Be sure to let people know about what's going on with the Elevated Chat Room. We're going to have interviews coming up soon and so many other great topics. Again, ladies, this is nothing against you. Trust me, we got a topic that's going to be for the men as well to help them understand more about the ladies. And we're going to have some featured guests with that episode. But the biggest thing is just when you see an issue, is to address the issue, expose everyone to the situation, and then there's an accountability that can take place because we can't say that we didn't know. And so that's what we're doing. We're sitting here trying to elevate your mind so that you can elevate your life. And we do it all together as one unit here at the Elevated Chat Room. Thank you again. We out.